Hello and welcome back to Farm on the Last Promise, 0% growth, slow turn count playthrough. This video will be tackling chapters 9 and 10. In chapter 9, we have to just seize the gate. It's very simple to do. There's only one notable side objective, and you're seeing it here. The boss, Liquid, is a berserker who is later recruited. In order to recruit him, we need to have Haas see at least one round of combat. The gate is just over that water. Rain starts in a couple of turns, and this chapter slows down significantly because of it. Inanna also doesn't have great stats, and there's a couple of 2-range and 1-range enemies on the right, and Haas is our best combat unit for taking them out. We only want to drop Haas and Siegfried on the right. We could drop someone like Noah, but yeah. There's an armory at the top of the map that sells javelins and hand axes, but we only have a use for the latter, and we don't need it. To talk about Haas a bit, he's used in this map, obviously, and in the next chapter, although to a bit of a lesser extent in the next chapter. He's a very, very good combat unit. His stats are very, very strong. He has 15 speed, he has 17 strength, he has A rank in bows and I believe B rank in swords. He joins us with a killing edge and a steel bow. I believe he also brings another killer bow to the table, which is very nice. His stats are super impressive, but unfortunately he's only around for 2 chapters, and he's level 12. So in a normal playthrough, it's advisable not to use him much. Well, he's level 12 when he rejoins. He's level 8 here, I think. The only notable thing is Haas needs 1 of 2 crits. As a nomadic trooper, however, he does have really, really good terrain movement. He has halved penalties across forests. Or different penalties across forests, which is very nice. The main weakness of not having a strong Inanna here is that we have to be very, very careful. She cannot take 2 of those archers, and she's going to have to dodge if she wants to survive more than 1. So we have to just take an extra turn to kill that archer, and not just drop Siegfried. Shuda and Noah are mainly just going up there to get a little more experience in sword rank on Shuda, and then Noah's case grind on sword rank. There's also just not much to do in this chapter. It's very short. It's one of the shortest in Siegfried mode. Inanna has to, can only survive 1 hit from an archer, as I said. Haas keeps killing a crit because the boss will throw a hand axe at him. The boss has 20 crit from the berserker bonus and his 10 skill, giving him 5 crit through his skill stat. So Haas has, with his 20 base luck, which is one of his most notable bases, faces exactly 0 crit from the boss, Liquid. I wasn't sure if I needed to buy out the conversation at all to recruit him later, but I just wanted to be safe. Okay, that's not what you're talking about here. Yeah, that's it. That's it for this chapter. So, I will start up chapter 10. This chapter is another Cease map, but this contains the final part of Shon's side quest. He must be the one to kill the boss. Which is why he was given the energy ring and why his sword rank was trained up to at least C rank swords. There's another side objective on this map that we don't really care about. It is the Angelic Robe shop. You can buy Angelic Robes there. We don't care. None of the units here really make great use of it. Also, Haas brings a short bow along, which is just 1-2 range in this. I believe I already mentioned that. But yeah, it's a 1-2 range weapon that we'll be seeing a lot of in Anakin mode, but not that much here. It is very useful to have on him though, because as I said, his combat stats are very, very good. Every unit is deployed in this map, and yeah, we need to be very strange about how we do this. Also, Chapter 9 cleared in 5 turns. I forgot to say that out loud. Haas's combat is really helpful, and we will be relying on it a lot for this chapter. That crit is not necessary, but it's very. A lot of things go weird in this chapter, I'll admit. That shop you see on the right, I just pointed out with my finger. That shop you see on the right, the vendor, is where you can buy Angelic Robes. We don't have unit that would make great use of them. The best unit to use them would be Haas, because he is the only unit here that sticks around long term. Shon breaks his piercing sword here, but it's fine. It's lived out its usefulness. The best part about this chapter as well is that Shon gets very close to hitting level 10, which is the level benchmark he needs to hit. He hits it in 2 maps after he rejoins. He gets a bit of experience in chapter 17. Actually, no, I don't think he does. And then he gets, I think, 3 kills in chapter 18, and that puts him up to level 10. Shuda actually might have been okay to use the Angelic Robes on, but he already got one, and he's not going to stick around much longer, and his rolls that he does are very replicable. This is going to be a bit of a long video because of how long this chapter is, so I hope we're ready to sit back and enjoy the ride for a bit. As I did say though, the reason that there's been such a long pause between videos, between chapter 7 and 8, that's because I moved into college and I haven't really had a lot of time to sit down and record videos. I've been very busy both with exams, my classes, and other things like extracurriculars. That mage has bolting, we don't really care about it. It's not very accurate. Altara's killing that enemy is funny. His combat's not super significant after this. It's still not really super significant now. We're mainly just trying to get units ready to brush up the center. Haas and Noah make great lumberjacks for cutting down that tree, or that snag, to open a little bridge there. Altaris doesn't need to use the Iron Blade, I just used it because it gets him to C-rank swords. It's never necessary, but it does mean that if he needs to, he can use a killing Lance Reaver or something. His level also is not that low. So, there were a couple of bosses I thought I might want to promote him for, but the bosses that he would be useful for ended up being impossible using him because of how low his skill stat is. This mage has a hero's flare. We don't care about it. This is where Haas's terrain penalties come into play, his unique terrain costs. As a nomad, he can push through these forests faster than the rest of the army, which is very helpful. We do need to get both Siegfried and Shon to the boss, but Shon and Siegfried are nowhere near strong enough to kill Pelennor on their own. Shon doesn't need to completely be the one to kill Pelennor. He doesn't have to do every round of combat against him. He just needs to be the one who lands the finishing blow. That is an important distinction that some people actually don't know about, and I had to tell them that. Those generals up by Pelennor aren't the bulkiest things, but they are still annoying to get through because they are promoted units. Other main, quote-unquote, side objectives of this map were just me trying to get Arthur a bit more experience to get him to level 10. He doesn't end up hitting it, and it doesn't matter in this playthrough. But as I said multiple times before, I thought it might be important. Also, Corbin gets a tiny bit more experience. It doesn't matter. He's never deployed after this chapter. Most of these units are never deployed after this chapter. Inanna's deployed, I think, once to burn RNs, and Arthur is deployed when he's re-recruited. But the only units that are actively chosen to be deployed again after this chapter are Noah, Shon, Haas, and Siegfried. And Shuda, actually, because his combat's still okay. So unless there's a side objective that the characters must be done with, must be used to do, like recruiting a character, none of these characters are ever chosen to be deployed again. So, for the most part, say goodbye to Kevin, to Miko, Corbin, Arthur, and Sia. While they are all recruited again, for obvious reasons, and while a couple of them are deployed to recruit units, they don't see any major roles after this map, unlike the units that I mentioned before. This is also an honorary goodbye to Storm, because he only gets chosen to be deployed one map after this, although he does something that is kind of unique, actually. Haas needs one of 2 crits to kill that general. One of those generals needs to die to improve the survival of Shon and Siegfried up in the boss area. We are primarily concerned about those 2's survival, because if they die, it's a game over, but also if they die, it's a reset. And Shon is not very tanky. That is, I believe, C-rank light. Yep, on Arthur. We also try to get Storm a bit more experience. Storm actually does hit level 10, and his unique contribution when he gets deployed later on in the run is something that he is the best unit in the army at doing, with the exception of Haas. But every other unit that could do it was already up ahead. We equip the Slim Lance on Shon because it doesn't weigh him down and it is important for him to use. It gives him more evasion against lance enemies that are up there. The rest of our units, they don't really matter. That Horse Slayer hit does hurt, but Haas is so stupidly tanky that we don't really care about it. He has stats comparable and slightly better in some areas and worse in other areas than a unit that joins in Chapter 17. Granted, Haas is meant to be like the Wallace, it's just he doesn't need to promote. Shon just needed to dodge one of those attacks that hit him on this enemy phase. That general does not have a javelin. I thought he did when I recorded this. That was just for a tiny bit more bow rank and 1 more experience on Storm. It was very stupid. Although I think it also sets up this. Makes it marginally easier for Siegfried to just get the one-shot with Newfound. And I do need to move Siegfried anyway to get to Miko to be able to heal Inanna, because she needs to take 1 more hit. Eleanor has effectively a light. It's called the Prism Shard, but it's a light brand. It grants him a tiny bit of extra defense. We want him to keep a sword equipped. Siegfried needs to be able to seize. We don't want Haas to get more than 1 crit on Eleanor. We'd prefer him to get no crits on him, actually. We just gave Siegfried the Killer Lance because it just is his best weapon in case anything does come his way. Eleanor, I think, can survive 1 crit. Yeah, I was wrong about Haas's level, he's level 5, my mistake. I don't exactly have a Wi-Fi bot available to read his stats anymore. Arthur hits level 9, and that's the last, significant level benchmark he hits. We honestly should have just given Haas a steel sword. I turn on animations here just for something a little silly. The amount of damage that Haas did is just perfect enough. If he managed to make him switch to an axe, it would have been better. We would have to deal 2 less damage. But Shon with the energy ring, with Count Pelennor using Prism Shard, and with a killing edge, it's just enough damage to get a crit kill on him. If we grinded him up to A-rank swords, we'd have a bit more flexibility, and we'd be able to get the kill with like a silver sword hit instead. Shon is 1 kill of an enemy that is on his level or above his level away from getting to level 10. None of what happens now on the map we could have just seized here. But what I did was get him Storm just a tiny bit more bow rank. And I had Altaris tickle this wall here. He gets to level 7, which is okay. And I do one last look through all the units that are here. Shoot is just 1 or 2 rounds of combat away from A-rank swords. Storm is 1 or 2 rounds of combat away from A-rank bows. Take your last look at a lot of these units, as I said. With that is Chapter 10, cleared in 7 turns. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for Chapters 11 and 12. Goodbye.